So, hello. Hi, everybody. And we are earlier than we had anticipated, which is wonderful because I forgot that we moved into daylight savings time, which I still don't know why we do that in America, but we do. So there's an hour that we didn't calculate. So hello and welcome to Sounds Good to Me. My name is Karen Jones, and we have the lovely Yile Lau on the other side there, on the side of the world, literally. Hi.
Hi. Hi from New Zealand. Yes.
How you doing?
I'm good. We're just talking about, the seasons, how it's summer, coming into summer here. So it's
Right.
the opposite. So I haven't still quite adjusted to the seasons here because I'm originally from the UK. And so coming to the Southern Hemisphere, it's like, oh, okay, everyone does this now.
Right, it's summer. It's like we're very lucky here in Vegas because the weather's gotten quite lovely for these next few days. Our holiday, we're getting ready for Thanksgiving, so turkeys are being prepared and people are cooking, and so there's kind of like an air of relax. But I from what I've been hearing from Yile in New Zealand, it's not. It's more of the kids are finishing up with the exams and everyone's getting ready for the holidays, for the Christmas, and it's a little bit of hustle and bustle going on.
Yeah, a lot of activity. So it's quite funny about the topic we're talking about today is entrainment, and that whole, there is an energy of kind of rush and frantic and get stuff done and exam.
Right. And everybody's meeting to match that energy. Right. And that's what entrainment, but this is our law of sound for the day. Entrainment is what we are called today's topic, which is all about literally connecting frequencies to the same frequency. So I guess the biggest example that we've ever been told when we were in school together is that they had a room full of clocks, and they had this big grandfather clock, and they have all sizes of other clocks, and they're all going to a different tempo. And within a very short period of time, they were all synced to the exact same rhythm of the father clock. So
Yes. Yeah.
That's the big example of explaining how entrainment works. And how, and then I actually got another example, which was really cool. It's like when you're walking down the street with your friend, and all of a sudden you start walking at the same rhythm.
Yay.
That's another really good level.
Yeah, because the other example I've heard about when females live together, to watch out. No.
Right.
the whole menstrual cycle starts sinking in,
yes.
That's
you don't want to be in a house when all the women have PMS at the same time. No. So this entrainment thing is a really powerful thing. It's more in our daily lives than we acknowledge. I like this book called Sound Healing for Beginners, written by Joshua Goldman, who is
yay Joshua.
Yeah, Jonathan's son, who is a sweetheart. He wrote this great book, and they say it really quite lovely because they say that it's the second major principle by which bodies can influence each other's frequencies. So how do we influence each other's frequencies? We frequencies are so important to our lives because it's like that tuning in to exactly what it is that you'd like to create, or to tune in to recognize where you are.
Mm.
And so entrainment, if you can use it to your behalf, how can you use entrainment to your behalf so that you can get or create or generate whatever it is that you'd like to have as your life, or what you want it to look like? I was thinking about that. I was like, how can we use entrainment? Because I remember. Go ahead. We're talking across the ocean.
Delay. I've been trained to the airway. Really fascinating. I mean, it's something I wanted to learn more about. I've been doing a little bit of reading, and it's kind of like that rabbit hole thing. And it's kind of like questioning, because there's different types of entrainment. I didn't realize. about some subjects. I think the tuning forks or the grandfather clocks that you said are quite a good example. But the tuning forks one, there's I think there's a certain what's the word, range of frequencies that we're subject to be influenced by, and there are some that are very coherent, I understand, that it's clear as a bell.
Right.
It doesn't get influenced by certain frequencies. There has to be a certain resonance,
Right.
that it starts reacting.
So doesn't that make you think about like countries and how there's a certain resonance that they entrain to, like a resonance of violence, or an entrainment of violence, or an entrainment of peace? Yeah.
Exactly. And we're just talking about this the other day. Someone interviewed on the radio, and he asked me about, is it like when you go to visit another country? So I'm from the UK, and in New Zealand, like entrained to the dialogue, the slang, they have the a and this thing, and the languaging and the dialects, you start kind of mimicking almost.
Yes, I do that a lot. People think I'm imitating them, but I'm actually not. It's not even a thought. I mean, I just start to do it. It's like, they're going to think I'm making fun of them. Actually, it's not. It's entrainment. Yeah.
Yes. But there are those that haven't lost their accent at all, that move countries, but they kept it. So I was like, what's that? I find that really fascinating. How they're really clear on who they are. Is that the reason, or is it just like, they're from the wherever country, and they've just kept there's
certain things that they're holding on to, or even though when they go home, they always tell them, well, your accent is not the same. You do have more of an American accent, or whatever accent.
Yeah.
Right? Another thing is that in sound therapy, I was reading in one of the books I have, is that that what they'll do is they'll take that, whatever that person's going through. So let's say if someone is depressed, they'll play something that's really sad. They'll play a song that's really sad, and they'll get them in that entrainment, stay in that resonance, let's say. And then they'll shift it with something a little brighter, happier. And once again, they'll shift it again. And that person will leave whatever they're going through and entrain to the new vibration.
That's interesting. It's like step by step, a gradual thing rather than quite a big jump, I guess, for a bit of phrase. Because I guess there are those, I guess especially in the work we do, in healing, there's almost like you can be too much of a, for some people.
Right. It's too peaceful, or it's like really annoying because it's so pure, quote unquote.
Yeah, or they find that they have the busy head thing. Like if it was, they've been rushing for so they're so used to that, and then for them to suddenly stop and be is quite difficult for them. Right. So maybe that gradual approach, is suited to the individual.
Right, and I exactly. I like a lot of times, like if I'm listening to, I listen to smooth jazz, which is a very relaxing. It's been proven to be a very relaxing music, just like a lot of classical music. Maybe not as much the more modern classical music, but even so, if you consider like going from hard rock to smooth jazz, that's like a huge leap. Maybe you'd go from like hard rock to alternative rock to pop, and then maybe to a smooth jazz.
It's like those. So you just remind me of a DJ when they're kind of, I guess, newish, and they haven't quite blended the genres, and you kind of dancing mid-flow, and then they change. Like, oh, hang on, what? There's a dance floor.
Exactly. I mean, it's so interesting when you start to really think about entrainment and how you're living it. How are you being entrainment? And even when you like right before you like start a sound meditation, just to get people out of their day, to get them out of the energy of they just got off of work, they rushed home to change, they run in to the space that hopefully is a little that connects them already to getting out of that other vibe. It's an interesting thing that that you can shift. And I think that using the voice, though, is a big help.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's a physical thing, because it's not just, okay, sit down, be quiet, and just, listen to the sounds.
Yeah.
There's a listening to the sounds, and then in a really good sound bath, at least in my opinion, listening to the sounds and then creating sounds. And really just focusing on that sound, and it changes your breathing, and it changes the resonance of your whole being, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that day we had on the sound healing intensive course of the toning day, that was phenomenal. Like, I really noticed, just for those that are watching, it's that we had 12 hours of toning the vowel sounds, and we're split into 3 groups, so it was continual toning, 1 hour sections for each group. And I just noticed, I don't know if you did notice as well, in the beginning we were kind of like loud and different things, and like, yeah, I'm gonna do this. And then by the end of the day, we entrained with each other and found that flow and that beauty of the, what's the word? Yeah, the cohesiveness of the group, and we just it just felt so amazing.
Right.
And it just sounded amazing.
And the thing is that we prefaced the whole day with a ritual that actually was a call to everything, from the elements to each of our countries, asking for peace. It was this huge request to the universe, and then we went into this full day of toning. It was probably, I'll never forget that. One of the most memorable experiences of my life, and I'm sure for you as well. It was.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can you explain that to anyone? You've got to experience it.
Yeah.
Everyone should experience it, because there's something really remarkable about a large group of people gathering together, and literally it's just like a laser prayer for everything, from the sun to the moon to the stars to the elements, to each country, to each continent, to the planet, to the animals of the planet. It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing.
Oh, and it just reminds you of that, like that. I mean, the word communion came up, like that communion with all things, and having that, because I guess there's so many different frequencies available. I think we talked about this last time, and from the forest, the earth, to the city has a different frequency, and it's like, can we be in communion with all things? Or at some point there's almost like, for some people, contrasting frequencies, and they don't know where they want to put themselves or be entrained to, and it's just, how can we find that harmony with all things and communion with all things?
Right.
And through the voice, if we can find our own coherent resonance within, and be together with others with that radial frequency.
Yeah.
How much more ease can we have in our life?
Oh my God, how much more? That day I was, people, we not only did toned, we couldn't speak during the day.
Yeah.
So we started out with this huge ritual, and then we went into toning. And when you weren't toning, you could stay in the same room where where a group was toning, or you could go outside, you could, sit under a tree, you could do anything you wanted in between, but you just had to know when your group was going in to tone in this space. So I found that I would fall asleep. And then I'd wake up and like, oh my God, did I miss my turn? I have to get back in tone. And then you had to, like I would start to speak, and I'd be like, oh, I'm not supposed to speak. So there was it was a physiological phenomenon, because it was so relaxing.
It was.
And frustrating, but then again, not, because you were connected, you were listening. You listened more because you couldn't speak.
Yeah, definitely.
If you could even, if any of you could just be outside for 2 hours in a day, or an hour, with just, don't talk, and sound as long as you want to sound, like tone, and just don't talk to anybody. See if you could do it, even for an hour. just to see what it feels like. It's not the same.
Just to add to that, we were also invited to fast. So I don't know if you did as well.
Oh, right. No, I don't.
That was pretty amazing. Because the for me, it almost just showed me about the fuel, the energy that's available that we can tap into. And I didn't feel hungry. I mean, I did have water, I must admit, but it was amazing. I felt like I was being sustained by the sound and the energy that was around. And like you said, I could really hear and feel and sense, have that whole different sensory perception that on another level that I hadn't experienced before.
Yes, it was dynamic. And I think that, it's almost like the sound continues to reverberate. And I can't explain that. I just know that whatever we created is still going. It hasn't stopped. And when they say that sound doesn't really end, I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. We just don't hear it anymore, right? But that for me still has such a powerful presence. Still,
Yeah,
that's how intense it was. Really, really, really cool.
Absolutely. Didn't someone, I can't remember where I read it or someone said about, are we just walking, talking bundles of patterns and sound, basically?
Right.
We're walking, talking sound patterns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because your voice is it's like a thumbprint. You can't disguise a voice. You can get people can imitate really well, but to really capture a voice that has so many harmonics connected to it, which is, if you missed our first show, you can learn more about harmonics. It's on YouTube. Sounds good to me. Just pop in "sounds good to me" and you'll find it. In our continuing conversation about sound, I think that we take sound for granted. We don't recognize how powerful it is.
And also, like when we talk about sound and the self-created sound, but also what you're saying about that, we're just constantly emitting this frequency, and the entrainment thing, how you're walking with your friend, we're constantly actually like broadcasting and receiving signals. So it's kind of like, what if we're more aware of that,
right?
And who your vibe tribe is, right? When there's some people you can walk well with, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's just not quite flowing.
Right. And if you think about it, how about those times when you like have a hunch or an impulse to, let's go to this restaurant, or let's go, there's this, I'm being pulled towards the city. I don't know what's happening, but let's go towards the park. It's in that area. Just in terms of entrainment, there's a vibe there that resonates with you. There's something there. You can't put your finger on it. But in fact, it is that bandwidth of clicking in and going, oh yeah, let's do that. I like that. Right.
What about, because that's something I've been playing with, observing, is those with, I guess, strong personalities, or those are kind of like, well, we're going here to this restaurant, and you kind of go, wait, we're going here, are we? Hang on, check that as well, how strong our signals can be.
Right.
And that teachers, the leaders, the spiritual gurus, like, what is it they're emanating in the broadcasting? It's kind of like,
right. And then what happens when you ask a question? Is the question is the radar or the scope, the sound scope, going out into the universe looking for that coherence, that resonance. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I had I posted an article on my Sound Illuminations page, which is my sound page on Facebook, and they had a town during World War II in Greece that created a whistling language. So because they wanted to communicate without anyone understanding them, just the people that spoke this language. And it's starting to die out because obviously the people from World War II aren't around anymore. they're dying out. So it's like they're trying to keep it alive. Just, I don't know why, but I'm sure that also is a resonance of safety. Creating a whole language that nobody could understand unless you really learned it. Fascinating.
Wow. Yeah.
If you look up Greek whistling language on Google, you'll find it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. Oh wow.
Yeah. Right. So, I was, wondering, okay, so how, there's a lot of things we can talk about with entrainment, and, reading from books and stuff. But I'll just read this little thing that I found. It says, entrainment happens all the time in the world around us, whether it is between humans, such as two people coming into step with each other, walking down the street, or a group of dancers pulsating with the beat of a band, or between inanimate objects. How do you like that? Such as metronomes set to different rates coming into perfect unity. Metronomes, that's right. I had forgotten that metronomes do that.
Wow.
Right? Or dancing with the beat of a band. I went to see, here in Vegas, they have a lot of Cirque du Soleil shows that are here all year round. And I finally went to see Love with the Beatles. It was a Beatles tribute.
It's still going? Awesome. Okay.
Oh my God. It's still going. And it was amazing. It was just, I just love Cirque du Soleil. They're just so artistic and so clever and just always reaching for more and expanding on that, the creativity. That too is a level of entrainment that I just want to can I be a part of this somehow? Can I be a part of this? And I am. I mean, every person is. As soon as you're in the show, you're watching the show, you're a part of it. And that makes for a successful show too, no? In and of itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
To entrain to the vibe of what someone is giving creatively. Beautiful. It was just beautiful. So people, now that you know about entrainment, you'll be more aware of it when you are out and about in the world, and perhaps you'll follow your nose, follow your knowing, as they like to say in Access Consciousness, follow your knowing. So I had, in thinking about entrainment, I was like, well, how can I ask a question? Because one of the modalities that both Ile and I share is Access Consciousness, which is a great modality. There are a lot of modalities, not to undermine anyone's modality. But if you have some other suggestions of how to better your life and grow and expand your world, this is a great modality. And one of the things they do a lot is they ask questions. So if you see Ile and I talking, sometimes we'll ask questions, and that's just part of opening your world as opposed to having one defined answer. I believe that there's more to learn about entrainment, in fact. So a really good question that I came up with probably a few minutes before we got online was, what potency of entrainment can you be to change the world?
Woo!
Right.
Awesome.
Right. So if you're creating a frequency and you're carrying that frequency around, and you connect with other people who connect with that frequency, which is entrainment, how can you use that to really affect change? And
woo-hoo!
Right, and everything that doesn't allow that. Woof woof. Yeah, I like that one.
Wow, wowzers.
So that's a pretty big question, right? So
that is.
Yeah. So I believe entrainment definitely is a potency, just like resonance, just like tuning into the frequency that you'd like to create as your life, or the frequency of what you're asking for.
Yeah.
So fine tuning so that you can connect to those people who want to fly in that same formation. That's entrainment too.
Absolutely. I'm just kind of getting on up. There's some of the other teachers out there that talk about that. Your vibe attracts your tribe. You create your reality. And it's like, well, how potent do you want to be with that? Yeah. Oh no. Like, hey. There's a bit of that going on. I've noticed in myself as well as other people. It's like when you do the asking of the question and allowing, I guess, the awareness to come up, and it's just then, oh, are you also ready to receive?
Yes.
That?
Yes. Yeah. Are you ready to receive? And if you don't ask people, you can't receive it, because you have to ask. If, even if it seems insane, if already starting to ask gets the energy moving, and it's getting you closer to that fine tuning that gets you to the frequency. And then they say, what's it that I think Abraham says, you have to already be the frequency. You have to know that you are that frequency already.
Yeah, that's it. She always talks about be the vibration. It's more the sensation and the feeling, the vibration, rather than the thing that you're asking for.
Right. So, but I think you still have to ask, and then, okay, whatever that is, I'm going to be that right now. And then toning, I think, kind of like kicks it in. It's like, okay, I'm just going to let everything go and just be it. And I'm going to make this sound, and I'm going to connect to that.
Shall we do that? Shall we make a sound?
Let's make a joyful noise. Yeah, let's do it. So,
what was your question again? Can we do a sound?
What potency of entrainment, or or
the potency of entrainment.
The potency of entrainment can we be to change the world? So, if you guys would like to join us on this little sound meditation or toning that we're going to do, you can just pick any vowel. Oh, that's another thing you do when we have a group of people together toning. What happens often, I'm going to say not always, but everybody gets on the same rhythm.
Yeah.
You ever notice that? Maybe not the same sound, but it's like everyone all of a sudden starts to
lock in.
Yeah. And then I've heard that your breath and your heartbeat start to get into rhythm as well.
Ah.
When you're making sound or not, even just, when you're silent as well in meditation and everything's calm, that's also another form of entrainment. I don't know why these things are floating on the top of my head now, but for some reason it's like, okay.
Flow.
So, right. So when the breathing rate slows, the heart rate slows in turn, which helps to relieve the fight or flight response of the sympathetic nervous system. So that's a little bit of science, but it's another way that we entrain naturally. All right. So do you want to lead, Yile? You want to start?
Do I?
I don't know.
Can you ask your question again? Because it went and then.
So what potency? Oh, let's do this one. What frequency of entrainment could you choose that would generate and create the life you've been asking for?
Wow. Okay, so what contribution can I be with in the way of sound? Is that what we're asking? So we're going to do a sound.
We're going to create a sound. Just make a sound, and we're going to ask that sound to contribute to whatever it is that we're asking for. So you can ask.
For those that are watching. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for those who are watching, you can also just say what Karen just said.
Yes.
And go, what is this she said? And do the sound. Do you want to do it together?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Do it. Should I bring over a toy? Do I need to bring a bowl and just pop a bowl and have it in the background? Sure. I have my bowl's calling to me.
Okay. She's gonna get her bowl. Oh yeah.
Hold on. All right. Did I just make a lot of noise when I dropped my headphones down? Did it go?
No.
Psh, psh? Okay, good. Can you hear this?
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. There's something. I mean, everything is contributing to whatever you're asking for. If you ask it to contribute, it will contribute even more. So, what contribution of sound can you be that can literally change the world? And what contribution of sound can we be that can change the world. Well, that was interesting.
Wow.
Wow. You guys can participate even during, when you re-listen to this, just participate. Your energies will connect to this moment, and everything that we were transmitting will be continue through time, for sure. That was very interesting. Awesome.
Mhm.
What was that? All right. That was pretty cool.
Hey.
Guests, we had guests that we didn't know were coming today.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Transmissions.
Yes.
Robust transmissions, a bit of a kind.
Right. Infinite bandwidths
Yeah.
connecting from all different bandwidths around the universe. We thank you. Thank you for that. That was quite spectacular. Yowza, yowza, yowza.
Thank you, Karen.
No, thank you. Right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that good for you? Sound good to you? All right, so here's one more question to leave with you. So what entrainment are you refusing? So what part of you is just not going to connect to that energy at all, whatever that energy is, even though you're very attracted to it? Are you refusing that if you would choose it, would give you more of the symphony of you that you've always desired?
Woohoo!
Boop, boop, boop.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so those of you who are refusing, let that shit go. Excuse my language. Just let it go. Let it go. Come on.
Who are you not willing to be? Yeah.
Right. Allow yourself to receive the symphony that you are. You are a symphony.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Infinite symphony. Yay.
Symphony of bioenergetic being or whatever.
Oh, awesome. Wow.
Awesome sauce. Awesome. That was pretty cool. I can't wait for the next one.
Indeed.
So we don't know what we're going to talk about next, people, but I think that we're going to continue this trans-continental conversation. Thoroughly enjoy working with you and playing with you, Yile. Thank you so much.
Likewise, Karen. Thank you.
And happy Thanksgiving. This is my favorite. Thank you. It's my favorite holiday. I think it should be celebrated all around the world, because saying thank you and gratitude is just so huge. It's just so huge. And we need more of that. We need more. We need to entrain to that.
Yeah.
A whole lot more.
Thank you.
And
thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're going to continue that in our next sounding, our next toning, our next sound meditations, to keep that one in mind, right? To keep that gratitude flowing. All right. Awesome. So I think that we can wrap it up for today. And we will see you guys again, hopefully in a couple of weeks, maybe before the Christmas crazy starts. Christmas crazy. I think it's already started.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you, Yile. Have a wonderful warm weather. We're having warm weather now in Vegas, so I'm not too jealous. But I'm sure that as soon as Christmas comes around, I'm going to be like, no, you're wearing a t-shirt. So we did it a little bit earlier today. The recording will be up, like I can put it up like as soon as we're done, basically.
Okay.
So
cool.
I think that people, when they check in, they're going to be in for some lovely surprises. So remember to connect to the potency of entrainment. It is a beautiful law of the universe. And when I think you use it wisely, you will be very happy. Right? Roy?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
All right, sweetie. You have a lovely evening. I am going to go to bed. Well, no, I'm going to probably watch a movie because I'm in holiday mode now.
Enjoy. Oh yeah, enjoy.
Right.
Enjoy.
Yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. And we'll see you next time. I am
Yeah,
going.
see,
Yes, we'll see you at the next Sounds Good to Me. Sounds good to you?
sounds good to me.
Bye.